Late summer, journey across western Sturgia. I set off from Epicrotea, journeying towards the Sturgian city of Omor. The trip, again, was uneventful. The southern Sturgian lands look much like the northern end of the Vlandian kingdom. Omor's fortifications were nearly as impressive as those of Epicrotea, and its buildings, though mostly wood, were lofty like tall peaked roofs. In the south we tell tales of the Sturgians as though they were half-wild man-bears, cousins to the wolfish Battanians, obsessed with war. When I entered the gates, I saw the boyar Olek ride by, and he really was an image out of a southerner's nightmares, all bearskins and metal and beard and a great scowl on his face. But the townspeople all look and dress much like imperial citizens, save for the fur-lined hats. They are not so much in love with war as commerce, specifically commerce in furs. Everywhere I looked, bearded men and fierce-looking women were counting pelts, inspecting pelts, weighing pelts, and bundling pelts onto caravans. There are no ancient lineages up here. Even the haughtiest boyar remembers that, no more than a few generations back, his family was not much richer than anyone else, and it is fur that transformed this land from quiet woods into the thriving realm it is today. Istiania's agent Zorgon was a merchant here. He was very curious about my travels, especially about prices and availability of goods. He spoke mostly about politics. His outlook and prejudices reminded me of my own father. When things went wrong in a kingdom, it was always because the prince, hungry either for power or the adulation of the mob, had refused to listen to the wise old men. Zorgan's family was from a leading family that had sat on the Vieccia, the town council. Ragnvald's father had dismissed them, threatening to hang them for treason when they balked at paying for a war. In the old days, he said, anyone could summon the Vieccia just by ringing a great bell in the marketplace. Ragnvald's father had melted down the bell and used it to make bronzed helmets for his Druzhina bodyguard. Zorgan was a great admirer of Olek. Olek, he said, was leading resistance in the Sturgian Council of Boyars to a law that would allow Ragnvald to hire one of the mercenary bands of the north, possibly the Shield Brothers, and place them under royal protection. This would give him troops that would rally to his banner more quickly and readily than the boyars, without needing to raise taxes. But Zorgan griped that this would mean that foreigners would go strutting around the realm as though they were boyars. He said that some boyars who licked Ragnvald's boots would back the law, but men like Olek, who recognized that Sturgians had pride, would never stand for this. This, too, was like my father. When it was the Archon against the local landowners, then the Archon was a bumbling, warmongering, nose-in-the-air spendthrift aristocrat, ignorant of crop prices and the cost of hired labor, and thus unworthy of wielding any authority. If it was the Archons against the Emperor, then they were the last defenders of ancient freedoms.